Hello, hello.
Hello.
Everyone.
Hey.
Everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Today we have the taco database. Look at that. Look at this guy. It's all their tacos. Oh yeah. We're eating tacos today. You know, we have the show today will be super cool. It's about data visualizations related to tacos. Because of the National Taco Day that was on Monday, October 4th, National Taco Day. I mean, I think Chris told me I never seen that all these visualizations about tacos before. Apparently, there's like 4.9 billion tacos that people eat here in this country every year. So, what else you saw there, Chris, from the visualization? I think it was what else it was there? You can remember?
Just like I think it said like 95% of the tacos eaten in America are by me. I didn't know if that was correct. I'm still validating that, but it's close. It's close.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. I mean, and you know, we decided all of us to eat tacos today and have some very good food. And I wanted to ask Brad, what do you got today? From where? What do you got in your taco things today?
So I went down to Lime, down the road from me, and got a little sampler platter of fish taco, steak taco, chicken taco. They all sounded good. I couldn't decide, so I got a little bit of everything.
What do you got, Aaron?
I went to Moe's, my favorite. I got a burrito. Sorry, it just fills me up more. But I'm close. You know, it's close.
What about you? I mean, Chris, what do you got?
I'm doing Tijuana flats like I do whenever I need Tex-Mex, and the Dos Tacos. They fill me up, Aaron. They fill me up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got
Nice.
I got this chicken tinga taco, guacamole, and of course the hot sauces. So yeah, everything. So that's what I got today. But today, you know, if you've never been in the show today, you know, we have every one of us have we have here 3 visualizations. So Brad have a visualization related to tacos, Chris too, and Aaron, and we're gonna put this on the screen for the first time. None of us have seen these visualizations before. That's the cool thing. This is a mystery chart show, and the idea is for us to grab the first impression. You know, what would you think the first time that you've seen this visualization? And, you know, we're going to talk about what are some of the insights, what we don't like, or what is confusing, and how can we make it better. And this is going to be a lot of fun. And let's start with Chris. Chris is going to show us his visualization. Let me start with Chris. So let's start with Chris' visualization.
Well, I'm going to start first, with the headline. This is from the Washington Post, and the headline is "Who Shrunk My Taco?" which right away was like one of the best headlines I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I'll go up to the actual chart here. And do you want me to go through it, or do you guys want to just like give your impressions?
You told let's see what let's digest it a little bit. So you said you got it from the Washington Post, right?
Yep. So it's talking about like why tacos are shrinking, and I have an opinion on this.
Okay. So, Brad, did you see anything that grabbed your attention first? Like, what was your first impression, like from the visualization perspective?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, I mean, you definitely get that. You see the guy holding the taco, and you see the sizes going down. So, I mean, you definitely get that the size difference and how it's shrinking. And also, it's really interesting too. And I don't know if this is the scale, but how small that 3.5-inch taco looks in his hand.
Wow.
It definitely makes it pretty impactful.
Wow, amazing. I mean, I am impressed with this visualization, Chris, and you need to come back more.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. You were the inspiration, but yeah, just searching a taco, there's a lot of interesting stuff for sure.
I really like it. I really like this. Do something like this.
So, Chris, were they talking about the shrinking of the tacos over time, or was it just like here are the sizes for each of these locations?
Yeah, I think it was the sizes for each of the locations, and I thought it was fascinating because it does use like one of the data visualizations that I usually would not do. And I've seen this before. You guys probably seen it like that curve. I don't even know what you call it. Is it a taco chart, like a pie chart? I would usually stay away from it, but I thought this was a perfect way to use it, and I really did understand it. Yeah, I love the illustration on the top. Then I love like the supporting, restaurant by restaurant at the bottom. Like, okay, well, what's the biggest sizes? What's the price? And I just thought this was like, an incredible job.
Wow, I like it because the reason why I like it, I'm not saying about the visualization perspective, but I really like that I've never seen something like this to illustrate how it's shrinking. So in that way, that's very interesting. I mean, it really grabbed my attention for sure.
So they have pie charts. Now we have taco charts.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's a good one.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, honestly, I don't know what these charts are called. You guys have probably seen them where they're like, instead of a bar chart, you could use this, this half curve semicircle. And oftentimes you can't tell the difference because they're all lined up on one axis. And, just like we can't judge in a pie chart or circles, we can't really calculate the area very well and compare. That's why I usually would stay away from this. But when it's a taco, so it has some meaning, visualization has some meaning to what content is. And then the story is exactly what the visualization is.
Exactly.
I thought it was one of the best I've ever seen of a story and a visualization choice.
It's interesting because, just like with the pie chart, you can't tell the difference between each slice unless you have the number there. If you look at how the numbers go up, 3.5 to 4 to 4 to 4.5 to 4.5 to 5, and if you look at how tall those rings are, it's like that's a half inch, and they went up higher. It doubled it to that 5 inch. Now, is that the scale? Who knows? But at least you can tell that there's a significant jump there.
Well, that's the nice thing too, is that you don't have to kind of try to figure out on the bottom right there what those are because it has those lines, like you said, Aaron. It makes it easy, and it makes it easy to know that I want to go District Taco because you got the best bang for your buck for sure.
Yeah. So Joe from BizLive, he's a very good friend of us. Joe said it's missing the deliciousness rating. It's Mama Chew is better.
Yeah, is it worth the price? You don't know.
That's valid. What's the Yelp review look like?
That's true.
So they're going to start doing taco charts now, and they had new hashtag taco chart.
They should also do like a calculated field where they could say, okay, what's the area of the taco versus the price? Because I still have to do some work, like that Bandolero $4.33 for a smaller taco versus $2 for the smallest. Okay, that seems like that's the worst deal, but I don't have like a unit price basically of per square inch of taco. How much am I paying?
Yeah.
So they're saying in the chat, it says, what's the ratio of taco size to taco price?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yeah.
Well, and the crazy thing there is too, like, have you guys seen that like statistic? Like, they maybe had in pizza, where it's like a 12-inch pizza and a 14-inch pizza. The 14-inch pizza is actually, much larger by area because of those extra 2 inches. So that's a good point. This might be misleading. Maybe that half-inch is quite a bit more taco versus, what you just think of being a little bit bigger.
Yeah, you know what? I do a lot of work for a pizza company, and we did do a test years ago trying to show people, hey, if you go to the next higher size, the amount of pizza increases by 30%. Like, you just think about it, just a couple inches more, but it's a massive deal. And you're right. People, just like how pie charts, they don't really understand. We even would try to communicate that, hey, 30% more. And it just, what? I don't want to buy an 18-inch pizza if I can just go to 16-inch. It's like, that's not where, the area issue is a real problem with, for a lot of folks, including me.
Right.
What I'm wondering here is, like, okay, so it's going from 3.5 inches to 5 inches, but is that extra inches at the top, is that just the shell and with nothing extra inside? Or are they filling it up to the brim at every one of these?
That's a good point, right?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's the filling that really gets the money, not the size of the tortilla.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
And the length of it too. I'm looking at like my Tijuana Flats taco. So it may not be the highest, but it's really wide. I mean, maybe that's what you got too. It's like that's again why that ratio might be important to add on here.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
So it's great. Erica said yes, like pizza, and she said Joe says right. It's all chopped level.
They fill you on the lettuce.
Yeah.
Andrew said taco volume with displacement measurement.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So now we've just discovered that we need a whole branch of research based around tacos.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think we're okay doing that.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys, what do you is there anything that is confusing? I think it's pretty easy to understand, but is there anything that is confusing right now?
I mean, I'll tell you, for me, right off the bat, I originally thought that this was showing like for instance, District Taco, how it shows the larger size. I thought maybe that it was talking about the size of District Taco started that large and then got smaller, not realizing that that's the size of their taco. So it's just comparing, tacos at different restaurants and the prices. But I thought at first it was talking about how tacos have gotten smaller over time at the same places.
Okay.
That was my first thought too.
Yeah.
Brad. So I asked, is this over time or is this just a comparison from one to the other? Because if it's not really shrinking, it just depends on the location that you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
even a simple label like taco size would be helpful in that column.
Yeah.
Rather than business size. Yeah.
And this is also interesting that it says where it says sold as 2 for $5 or sold as 2 for $4. So it's hard to understand, like in reality, what are you getting other than the first one? There's only one taco, right? The other ones, they're selling you more.
Yeah.
Because you have to buy 3 or 4 or 2.
Yeah.
Which I feel like that kind of displaces it too, like you said, right? Because a lot of these restaurants are going to have, hey, if you buy more, it's going to be less per taco because you're spending more money overall. So it's interesting that District Taco is still the cheapest and the largest because they're selling it single. But yeah, I mean, if you're buying multiple, then of course it should be cheaper per taco because you're having to buy. Like, what if this was sold as 10 for 50, right, or whatever? Of course, it's going to be cheaper because you're buying so much of it and you're spending so much money overall. So you don't have the option to buy just a single taco. So.
Looking at that also, like, why is Bandolero so high when it has such a small size? Then there's that note about suckling pig taco, and so I wonder if they're having a premium meat in there, and that's not taken into account with the size.
And you know what? I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out. Honestly, I realize now I wasn't even looking at the subtitles.
Yeah.
Because those others could just be beef, but if you're using a higher meat,
exactly. Yeah,
it's not really comparable.
Yeah, it's almost like the more we look at it, sort of pick it apart, like a taco itself. It's almost like they maybe should have stuck to just the size and said, okay, here are the small, the sizes are actually, a taco isn't the same everywhere you go size-wise, and just stick to that. And then a secondary thing would be, but you get what you pay for. And maybe there's some ratio, not just the size, but the quality of the meat, and like I said, like the fill it to the brim aspect. Well, which one is the best deal? Because then that would be the action you want to take out of this. Okay, so where am I going to go for lunch today? If I don't go to Tijuana Flats, should I, get Bandolero on Uber Eats?
Yeah, so if that smaller size is filled to the brim and it's just overflowing, and then that one that's the biggest has very little inside of it and it's mostly shell, well, you're going to want to do the one that's smaller because it has more filling inside.
Correct.
Yeah.
So let's go now and talk about let's start with Mike. Let's see what Michael said, and we can start with that theme about what would you make a little bit better, right? So Michael said, this is a fun chart. The only issue is I think the hand taco visual takes too much space. The subcharts are too tiny. I will just adjust a little bit to make it easier to read. So we'll start thinking about what you guys will do. Like, Brad, what would you like to maybe make a little bit better?
I mean, that's a good point. I go back and forth though, right? Because of the medium, right? So this is a Washington Post article. So it's a visual in that. So, think about it. If you're scrolling through and you see a big hand eating a taco, that's going to grab you. So I get it from that, right? Like, what is the purpose of this visualization? But I agree, and that's the thing. Like, so again, the things we talked about in that bottom right corner of just, it's. I get it after you spend some time looking at it, but again, if you're looking at an article and you're going to pass through it, it's hard to pick the quick insights out of it. So again, like maybe taking off the price or just talking about size or giving like a ratio or something like that. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some. I hate to always bring in like color because that gets confusing, but I think I don't know. Because I think for what they did it okay. I think it's just like you said, it's a little too small, maybe a little too detailed, a little bit confusing when you really dive into it.
I think if you could add some context to it, like ratings of these places, that $2 one might be the best deal, but if it's got a 1.2 rating, maybe you don't want to go there because they've had some issues elsewhere. So again, if I were gonna spice this up a bit, I would add that some kind of rating in there, either as a separate column or just inside that size arc column.
There is, Chris, what do you think about this? And I know that you like this type of things about titles. So Joe said needs a good title, and he suggested, where can you find the biggest taco in town?
There you go. That's the way to do it. I think that also sort of flips the original headline of Who Shrunk My Taco, because that does imply like the over time that they've been shrinking. You guys are saying. So yeah, if the purpose is who has the biggest taco, then this satisfies that. Especially if you kind of strip down that bottom right hand table. And okay, so let's not worry about the price or make the price like more of a real secondary. It looks way too prominent there, and instead like the size should be the biggest thing that you're gonna put there. So like, okay, yeah, this taco, the 5-inch size, the Taco del Chalango, 4.5-inch size. And then so you pose the question, who has the biggest taco? You answer the question clearly. You don't have any of these distractions that the more we look, the more we're getting distracted. Like, oh wait, what's is that filled up? Is that not? Where is that? Just make it clean. Just really clean. Just focus on size. Yeah.
So there is a really good observation here from Marvin Majorga here. He said, what is your opinion? He was asking all of you on using tacos as a size image as opposed to just normal circles like they did on those blue circles. Yeah.
I think it depends on the purpose. In this instance, it's a newspaper trying to grab your attention. So I think for their purpose, they did a good job. In most other senses, it may be difficult to try to pull in something like this that people can gain insights from.
Yeah, I think too, because and this ties into some of the other issues, right? Because that image on the bottom right corner is so small, we already said like those lines delineating how big it is, I think do really help. Or else you would be like, is that one a little bit bigger, a lot bigger?
Yeah.
Like, so the lines there help determine how big it really is. And I think if you go to like that taco image that's in the top at that small size, you might lose that. So it wouldn't be as easy to differentiate.
One of the things that I agree with, they changed the color to blue, kind of like light blue.
That's true, yeah.
And Andrew's suggesting, why do you change that? Yellow or brown instead should be better than sticking with the blue, because you can keep this theme of tacos, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think I agree with Michael, what he said earlier with the hand and the taco itself is taking up 80% of this view. And they've just squeezed in the numbers there at the top and then squeezed in the numbers there at the bottom. Yeah. Perhaps if it wasn't so big, because it's not really the size of that taco image is not super relevant. But if that's what they were just trying to do is grab your attention, then I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
This is for Chris. So somebody's asking Chris, like, when was this data from? What year was this data from?
Oh, good question. You want me to flip over to the?
Yeah, just flip over to something else on top. Yeah, thank you.
I believe September 5th, 2012. Yeah, so it's actually quite some time ago. Yeah.
So it's probably more expensive now.
Probably.
I was like, man, I wish my tacos cost $2.
Yeah, yeah.
So thinking of data best practices, it'd be great if there was a follow-up to the story and how has it changed from then to there.
Yeah. Yeah,
and back to title, that would probably more accurately portray the Who Shrunk My Taco versus Where to Find the Biggest Tacos. It's that time comparison. Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent. I think that, this is great. Thank you, Chris. I mean, this is amazing.
Yeah. No, great discussion too.
One more. Hold on, one more from the chat, from Kayo. He said, my restaurant decision is not based on size of the taco, but rather on taste, experience, quality of products, review, etc. So this visualization, although nice, done, is useless for me.
You need that review. Yeah.
I agree too, though. Like, especially now with the street taco craze, right? Everything's small. You can try a little bit of everything. You don't need one big taco. You get 3 small ones or whatever it may be. Yeah. So that's another point too of like maybe it's going smaller. But I guess that's when the price does come into it, right? Because maybe that is the trend to go smaller. But when you bring the price in there, okay, well, I'm not going to pay the same price I was paying for a full size taco. I want smaller tacos, but at a lower price or whatever. So
correct. So, I mean, I think that because of time, let's go to Brad's visualization. And Chris, this is amazing.
Yeah, great talking.
When I was looking at it. So, thank you very much.
Cool. Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. It's different. So let's go to Brad's Viz. Okay. So, Brad, can you see it?
Yep, I can see it. All right, so this is from UCLA Data Res, which I actually looked up. It's pretty cool. UCLA has their kind of data res team. So you can see here, this is by Team Green. So this, or Green Tea. So this is kind of like a project they do. So when Yamil talked about tacos, I've been thinking about everything going on and the cost of food prices and all that. And what's a better ingredient to tacos than avocados for all your good guacamoles and things like that. Mm-hmm. So this is an article. It goes through kind of their whole process and questions they answered. It talks about the data sets. It's great. And then it comes down here to their visualization. So that's the one I'm going to share here is their interactive visualization that they did. So I'll do the same thing. I'll kind of let you guys take it in and then we can talk about it. And there is a little chart here at the bottom by month, but I can't show it all at the same time. So I'll just focus up here for now.
So I have some guacamole here, look.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Guacamole. Yeah. Oh, this is great. I mean, I like that, they're using kind of that thing, right? You can see in the background, the green color and also in the map. Okay. Where did you say again when you found this? What was the article from?
It was from the UCLA Data Res.
Okay.
So they actually have this whole Data Res website where they post these projects. So.
Okay. So Chris, what is your friend's impression, Chris?
Well, yeah. My first impression is whenever I see a map, I always think, was that the best way to do it? Because a lot of people just, hey, I'm just going to throw it on the map. It's great. People like maps. It makes my dashboard look cool. And in this case, I don't know if the map is serving a strong enough purpose for the amount of real estate it's using up. Just because I think, like at a glance, if the story is, well, the Northeast has higher avocado prices, which I think is at the that's the price. Yeah, see, that's not even a
average price.
It's not a percentage increase. That's just like the overall price. That could just simply be because things are expensive in the Northeast, so it's going up. Like, but if you're using a map, I always suggest making sure that's the best choice, and then go ahead and setting the zoom as close as possible so you don't have so much Canada and Mexico if you really want USA. And I've even changed like the size in Tableau of the dash so that I can really, if it is just the US I'm trying to put on, really just tightening that up. And then I would just say too, rather than going from a dark green in this case, sometimes a stronger in visualization have a contrast. So, if some of them didn't change that much, make it like the green gold or something like that. So the ones that didn't change as much aren't just like a lighter green, but they're moving to a different color.
Okay. I don't know. Anything that you can get really quick.
So the idea here, and it explains it in the title there, is the change in price from 2015 to 2020 but the map is only of 2015. The bottom right chart is only 2015. So in order to see what they want the story to be is what's the change from 15 to 20, you have to then play with that and interact with that so that you can maybe see that change flipping through each of those pages. So not having a clear view of how the price changed per state from 2015 to 2020 is difficult for anybody to kind of follow along with where are the prices changing the most.
Yeah, that was one thing that kind of drove me crazy about this. You do have to flip through the years, and especially this chart down here. You can't see it over time unless you go from one year to the next. So you have to kind of like flip back and forth real fast to try to do some sort of comparison through the years, which definitely makes it much more difficult.
So here from the chat we have maybe use color transitions from green to brown to mimic the life cycle of an avocado.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing, right? Or you have the skin or the pit of the avocado is brown, so you can keep that avocado theme, but go from that brown to green. I think would have been a great idea, because I agree with you, Chris. I'm and even on my screen, looking at it close, it's hard to tell the color differences between them.
So Cody here have something for you guys. Cody said, are maps the new pie chart when it comes to to understand the data at a high level?
I think, I don't know if they're as bad as pie charts in my opinion, but I don't think they're as useful as people think they are. In most cases.
That's right.
Brad, can you go to 2020?
Yeah, let me see if it will load for me with my bandwidth here. Yep, there it goes.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. And this was published in March of this year, so this should be complete 2020.
So just from my remembrance of what it was for 2015, it seems like California shot up in price compared to what it was before.
Yeah.
And see, that's exactly it, right? So to do that, I'd have to sit there and okay, let me go back.
Yeah.
All right, California's 131. Okay, now let me flip back the other way, and you have to keep flipping back and forth to try to compare. And
see,
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
I was saying, and the biggest thing is really the biggest thing that called out to me was this down here. Like if you're gonna have the line graph over time, but have it filtered to that year, or at least give the option to select all years versus having it. I could see if you're filtering it, then maybe, and then also too the scale, have the scale be variable so that and here's another thing. So down here, and I forgot about this, right? It's by month, by year. So then what's the point of this chart then? It's very it's very redundant. You really don't need this unless you're showing year over year. Yeah.
Before I go, because I have to jump, let me just say, Brad, I agree with everything you're saying. And let's say instead of having that map, and let's use that average price, that under leveraged chart that's only showing partial. Imagine if that was the focus here. So we're looking at over time, what are the prices of avocados, and then group them by what's meaningful. So if 45 of the states didn't change their avocado prices, group that into average states, and just one line is like a standard. And then if California is one that's jumping up and down, that's the one that you're having brown. If that's a bad thing, oh my gosh, they're really ripping me off on the avocado prices. But just really condense it so it's meaningful. And then again, what do we want out of that? Is it okay, don't ever buy avocados in this state? Because that might be the purpose.
Chris, I'll talk to you, but I know you have to go. Thank you so much, Chris. And
thank you guys.
Chris, I'll send you this. Maybe we can post about it. Let's post about it.
Yeah, sounds good. That'd be great. All right, guys. Nice talking to you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. So we have now a taco man here. Look at that. The taco. show the taco hat for everyone. That's the taco hat.
I don't know. I think this is way bigger than 5 inches.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I love it. I mean, we have a couple of people from the chat. Hold on, because there's a lot.
It looks pretty full, so you got a good one.
Yeah, this is the cheap felt. filling.
Yeah, we have. Let's see here. Hold on a second. So this is Joe. He said, "Cost of tacos correlates strongly with avocado cost." That's correct. What can you say about that, Taco Man? What do you say about that? The cost of the avocados.
I don't know. I mean, I think we have to talk about it a little more. I've got lots of information here to absorb.
Yeah.
I must be in the minority here because I do not like guac.
No.
Don't kick me off, please.
So do you, if you don't like guac, do you just like whole avocado?
No, nothing with avocado, unless it's like a facial scrub or something.
Okay.
But I know, I think Andrew, you posted earlier with this being Haas avocados, and yeah, so I think when I was reading through the blog, and they did say down here that it's from the Haas Avocado Board. But even then, there's, I think there's California and Mexico grow Haas avocados, and there is Florida avocados as well that aren't being taken into consideration. So yeah, maybe in this Northeast section, Haas avocados are more expensive because you're traveling so far. Maybe Florida avocado, I mean, they're cheaper in general, but maybe Florida avocados aren't as bad because it's less distance to travel or something like that. One thing I was hoping for with this chart, with this monthly view down here, was to see some sort of trend to know when I needed to buy avocados at the lowest price.
Nice.
So I do like this view. I mean, it's not telling you a whole lot, I don't think, the way it is, but I was hoping to see a spike or a dip at certain times of the year. But other than maybe January, February, I'm not really seeing that.
Yeah.
So we have Marvin. Marvin said the next time that we're gonna have an episode 2, Marvin and Andrew, because everybody loves the tacos. He said the next time we're gonna raffle a tequila. That's what he said. Here, I'm recording this, Marvin. So
what we need is a Data Meaning branded tequila, and then we're good to go.
Yeah. Oh, that would be amazing. Aaron,
there's something for you here. You could have done 3 Amigos.
Yeah. 3 Amigos Wednesday. Erica says, Aaron, first the burrito over the taco, and now the no whack. Are we twins? She said.
I'm not alone. So one thing I noticed, so right now I'm looking at the red and orange distribution.
Yeah.
If you switch it back to 2015, you can see there's a huge spike in whatever dollar range that is, but you don't have that in 2020. So it was all about that $1.09 that year.
Right.
What was the average for this year? And then if you go to 2020, what was the average for that year? It would be good to see if maybe it's not going up on an average basis, but we can't really tell that.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it, but they don't give a nationwide average for any sort of comparison. Or like I said, if it does level out, like if New England's always the highest and Texas is always the lowest, is it on a national average staying about the same or not? And there's no way to tell that.
Yeah. And we talked about that hidden chart underneath. If you put that map and just moved it up to the top of where the title is, you could probably get that chart in that spot there and save yourself some room.
Mm-hmm.
So like Chris had said, there's a lot of unused space on this dashboard.
Yeah.
I really think that this dashboard, think about this, Aaron, tell me what do you think? And Headman, I think we can do it with 2 charts. Let me tell you why. What you want to do is saying from 15 to 20, how much do you increase, right? So you can do one of those step charts, right? From the 15 to the 20, how much do you increase? And also you can do bars just for this average price rate of US regions. And then you can see how it moved from 15 to the 20th. And you can see it all. And you don't need that the filter by year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even at the years in between, so far we haven't stopped at 2016, 17, 18, or 19. Are those years that relevant? Or is your story, what's the difference between 15 and 20? Then maybe you show a slope chart of how that's changed per state when you hovered on it.
Correct.
That's a good point. Yeah, I agree.
Over time, like during the year, if maybe they're showing some of those cycles, like best time of year to buy, like you were talking about, Brad, I think what would be interesting is to just see spark lines for each year. So maybe that's what they were trying to do with the average price. but because they made it dynamic, it's not correlating that. The other thing that attracts my attention to this is it's really showing the intersection with cost of the avocados, right?
Okay.
But what I think would be interesting is what does the demand look like for avocados, or the supply? So are there particular years where it was a great avocado year and they flooded the market and maybe that drove some of the price down? Or is there maybe in the Northeast, they just love their avocados and they can charge them extra for it? Or maybe they don't love them and it's just really expensive there because they know whoever is interested in avocados is willing to pay for it.
So, Brad, go back to the one on the bottom, on the other chart that is below. I think that's the one, right? So in this one, you can see it by year, the prices.
Yeah, so you can see 7. Because that's actually, the funny you just mentioned that, because I was actually doing that up here. I was trying to think, like, to that point, Andrew, a really good avocado year. So it looks like 17, there was, it went up. 18, the price came back down. 19, what looks like, I think it was a really bad. Yeah, look at this. All the West got a lot darker, and these went up. But then again, like you said, Yamil, now you can look at really the same thing down here. Not having to scroll through, because you can see, okay, yeah, 17 was definitely higher on average, and then 19, which we just saw by scrolling through that map. So kind of, yeah, like you said, a lot of redundancy. Maybe you could kind of combine some of the ideas here and not have to.
I think with two charts, you could do probably all of this.
You probably could have colored that map by the regions that they have there on the left, rather than per state. I bet that would have shown more of a drastic difference in prices than doing it by state.
Yeah, because that's what would you look like where you live, right? That's probably what you're gonna do, like when you look at this.
Right. And that's another small thing. I mean, I hate keep bragging on this one, but like they could have done a lot more with the interactivity between the charts. Like, for instance, because I was playing with that. Okay, well, what about just the Southeast? And I believe, now it worked. Never mind. I swear I was playing with this earlier. I didn't. So you can filter it. Oh, but you know what I think it was? I think this looks like the only. Let me try to click over here real quick. That was it. So I was trying to click individual states and nothing happened. So that's a thing too. They didn't turn off like the ability to click on these when it doesn't do anything. There's no filtering on any of this, but you can still click on it. But now it looks like this one is the only one that's filterable. So maybe also calling that on, hey, you can filter on this region.
Yeah, select a region.
See more detail. Yeah, select a region. Because I was confused with that. I never clicked on this one. I was clicking all over here in the middle, and nothing was changing.
So you just said something very important, Brad. In that where it says average U.S. region, it should have a note there that says click here. That's like visualization best practice. You should put something in there that says click here to highlight that into the map.
Yeah,
it's not there.
Yeah. So this brings up an interesting question, which I don't think I've ever done this, but Brad, I think you highlighted something that I should start doing in my visualizations. Should there be some type of symbol that you use for anything that you want to convey is actually usable as a filter for the entire dashboard?
That's a good one. I could see definitely using like maybe a magnifying glass or a click here box or something. But I think either way, whatever you choose, I think it's just the education of that, or having like maybe a little key somewhere in the description to say, hey, anywhere you see this is filterable. But also, to that point, and Yamil and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but can't you can turn off the ability to click in these charts, right? Like
yes.
Yeah, so that's the thing too, right? So the fact that I could click in here and nothing was changing threw me off.
Another thing you can disable is when you were trying to scroll down on the page, but your mouse is over the map, it's zoomed in or out.
Oh, yeah.
You can turn that feature off so that it freezes that map at that exact point, so it can't ever be zoomed in or out on.
Yeah.
Because now you're kind of you have to reconfigure the map in order to get it back to seeing the whole thing.
I know, because now it might reveal how cheap avocados are in Latin America. We may be overpaying here.
Yeah.
Like coffee. So Marvin said, that he also agrees that, and I think I feel the same way. I want to know which states consume the most avocados, right? So that will also provide you some additional insights that you can put on the hover here on the tooltip, right?
Yeah. And that was one thing in the link with the paper, they did some individual visualizations for stuff like that, consumption rates, and actually, since we're coming to the end, I'll show you real quick. I really like this one. It was a lollipop chart. So they did they forecasted it out. That was one. And this is what I was talking about, like seeing all the years side by side, and then they added the forecast to it as well. But right here, so they created a lollipop chart.
Nice. Okay, this
so
is better.
this is to say, okay, our next step was the link between prices and purchases. So on the left you have the price changes, percent change in price, and then you have the percent change in volume. I guess, and this is, Aaron, to your point, directly comparing 15 to 20 and leaving out all the middle years.
Exactly.
And so you can see here, right? So, for instance, you look at this and you kind of tell right off the bat that, okay, maybe there isn't the best correlation, because look here, the plains had one of the largest decreases in price, but only did so in average volume. And then California, that makes sense, right? California and these two had a price increase and their volume decreased. So I thought this was cool because I hadn't seen a lollipop chart very often at all, and especially used in this type of way. It was really interesting.
I like it. I mean, I never seen this before. Aaron, you've seen something like this where they're presenting percentage change with the lollipop chart? Yeah, this is kind of like different because they want to the left, right? Give you the negative, like negative variance, right?
Right, exactly. So these are all price decreases.
Yeah, and then they want to the right a positive variance. Exactly. I like it. I kind of like it.
Brad, let's do something live here. It says edit chart. What does that do?
This is taking me into a whole new world of stuff.
It broke. Sorry.
I know. I don't know what you just had me do, man.
This is the best part. The best time to use to go with Aaron. We have to go to the last one. But thank you.
That's a good one, Brad.
That was great, Brad. Thank you. I really like that chart.
Yeah.
Someone says from the chat, should reading a visualization be like a journey to help guide the reader through the report, similar to how websites are built with UX, UI? Yeah, I think, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see. Go ahead.
Right,
so
here we're looking at the appetite for tacos during the pandemic, up 12.8%. I'll tell you, I don't know this topagency.com. I think they provide a lot of this data because I wanted to redo this dashboard just a little different so I could see if that were possible. But they looked at how much people were eating tacos before the pandemic, the year before, and then the year that they have the data. They start out with these couple of KPIs. There's also these findings. So as I scroll down, I could click on these and it would take me down to that section. So I'm not showing you specifically one chart, but it's a couple of them. It's more like a dashboard. Here, this next section, it's the number of tacos eaten each month. So it says 21%, 24 or more tacos in a month, with most people coming in 42%, 4 to 12. Here's a nice little fun map that shows the most popular taco chain by state. Now, I'm from Illinois, and I live in Florida, and I don't agree with either of those because I've never eaten at either of those places.
Yeah,
I got my Moe's here today, so that's definitely my go-to. And then underneath it is a ranking of each of those states. Top 1 through, for the most part, 5. There's ones with 3 and 4. Maybe they don't have more than 5 large chains. But then you can see for your state what it was ranked.
Oh, cool.
And then
what is here? Florida. Where's Florida?
Florida is where are you at here? Del Taco. I've never eaten there.
Me too.
I've been to the other places, but maybe it's more popular in other places. I did find at the bottom that the survey was only done for 1,000 people for the entire country. So take that for what it is, And then this last one, It's just a simple line chart of what it was last year, and then this darker blue line of what it was this past year.
Wow.
So it's saying it was up 12.8% during the pandemic.
So go back to the first one. So you went up 12 point.
Yeah, 20% of Americans eat at least a taco a day.
So I think a good comparison to this is how many people were, or how much did the overall eating out percentage increase or decrease? Because I was watching something on Netflix, or sorry, HBO, and it was Tucci in Italy, and something that he was talking about is Italians, when everything closed down, pizzas. So they literally closed down all the restaurants, and everybody freaked out because there were so many pizza restaurants. Nobody knew how to make pizzas at home. And now I'm a little worried. I'm like, do people not know how to make tacos at home? And that's why they were all going out to the restaurant to get them.
Yeah. So
anyway,
you can make it a little bit larger so we can read what it's in, where it says 12.8 and 1 point. Okay.
How's that?
Okay. So the increase in taco consumption during COVID. Okay. The number of Americans who ate an average at least one taco per day. The average of people who don't eat any tacos at all. Okay.
Those are the crazy ones over there.
That's higher than I would have expected.
That is pretty crazy.
Michael here to help us out. Michael, thanks for the shirt. And what do you think, Michael? Give us some new perspective.
On this map?
On the one on top, and then we can go to this one.
Whatever you want.
No, we can do this one. This one we haven't talked too much about it.
Yeah, I didn't care too much for the previous chart. This one, honestly, it hurts my eyes. Too much bright colors, and again, I kind of get the point. You make kind of the logos, this and that, but really, the actual map of the U.S. for me doesn't work. I kind of like things even, so using like hex maps, or at least in this case, icons where maybe the states are.
It is interesting.
But ultimately, we're trying to see, I guess, the most popular taco by state, and just from looking at this, it seems like Taco Bell reigns king.
Taco Bell reigns supreme.
But
good one. Yeah, they got a dominance here on the East Coast.
For sure.
Wow.
But is that because some of these other places aren't accessible? I know Del Taco is not necessarily kind of an East Coast type of thing. It's in pockets here and there in different cities, but Taco Bell, you're going to have more locations spread throughout, so you have a better chance of saying, well, it's more popular just because there's more of them.
Yeah, this almost goes back to the quantity over quality, right? So if it's most popular, is that just sheer volume being sold, or is it also the like dollar figure in terms of revenue?
Right.
This is
I think it's like one of those things where you lie with data, right? I don't believe that it's popular because it's popular. I believe it's cheap, the majority, because that's what's there.
Yeah. I think I think from the data side and the quality of it, yeah, that's the question. Like, for instance, I agree. I've never been to Del Taco, and I've lived in Florida my whole life. But and Michael, I agree with the colors are bright. It hurts my eyes. I will say though, I think it does a good job at I'm looking. You could sit back and have this on a small screen and see. Trying to tell you, you can follow that big swath of yellow and know that that's all Taco Bell, and you can pick out the Taco John's and then the greens and the Del Taco. So at least from the visualization standpoint, I think it does a good job at getting the point across quickly on who's, how popular certain brands are and if they're like located in pockets of the country and things like that.
Yeah, and I guess for their definition of popular, they went with year-on-year change in visits and not necessarily ratings on Yelp. So it's it's all on whatever they're trying to tell, and that story here is it's just the number of visits.
Yeah,
which that brings in a whole nother can of worms, right? Because if Taco Bell has a big expansion strategy, well, of course their year-over-year growth because they have more. So it's almost like, should it be growth, per capita, or how you normalize for that expansion strategy? If you're building more restaurants, of course you're going to have more visits, but is it more visit per restaurant or what?
I think if we read the context here in this paragraph, there's something else. And I'm going to ask Andrew what he thinks. So think about this, Andrew. It says that this was during the pandemic. But if you think about it, how many small restaurants went down on the pandemic that are not open anymore, but this big change were able to still open. And, that's one thing that we have to take in consideration, right? And then these companies, what they did was they kept opening restaurants and taking advantage of those that left that now were open, right? Like they were able to find more locations. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that's spot on. And you even have to think of, like, when we look at these different brands, how many of them have freestanding restaurants? So, like, a lot of the times when you see Chipotle's, they're in a mall or airport. So they're definitely going to get hit by some of the pandemic aspects. The other call out that I'd have, Michael, you had mentioned, hey, it's a lot going on there. What I almost think would have been nice is, rather than having the logo on every single state, you could have went with just the colors on there and muted them a little bit, and then just put the logo on the side, and it could have even been in the color, but at least kind of detract that a little bit, so it doesn't look quite as busy.
Yeah, or even too, right? Like you have that big swath of Taco Bell. You don't need a Taco Bell logo on every single state. Just put it like in the big general areas where they overlap.
Just a giant taco, right?
Right, there you go.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, they're all different colors. I mean, I agree with Andrew. Like if you just have a legend, then you know which one is, because each one will have different colors.
If this were interactive, you could easily put all these rankings just when you hovered on it, so you didn't take up so much of the space.
Oh, I see.
Just an interesting side note is I just noticed that the biggest taco place in Texas is named Crazy Chicken.
Huh.
So I've never been there, so I'm assuming they have tacos, but it sounds like the most popular taco place is a chicken restaurant.
Chicken tacos. I mean, that's the thing.
There you go.
Yeah. Loco. Yeah, I would have thought it would have been Taco Cabana or something. They're pretty big there as well.
Yeah, there it is right there.
Go what? Okay.
Yeah, and I will have to side with Tito on this one with the Del Taco portion. At least they use fresh beans. So if you guys haven't tried them, I'd say try them out because they're pretty good. And then it's not that the bean paste from Taco Bell. So a little more on the authentic side.
Nice.
So there's somebody here, Matthew Simas, to Aaron, saying, have to go to Crave Court for Taco Jones, Aaron. I'm not sure.
That's that back in Illinois where I'm from. That's my brother.
Oh, that's your brother. Okay, cool. That's awesome.
I've never heard. Have you guys ever heard of Taco John's?
No, I have never. Is it good, Aaron? Taco John's?
I've never been there. I've never heard of it.
Had you been?
I think it's time for a taco roadshow.
I know. That's all. I'm just taking notes on all the taco places I have to try after this.
It's all the data that we need to collect is what it is.
Yeah, exactly, right? We collect all our first party data ourselves.
So, Aaron, there's something interesting under where it says methodology. Can you go a little bit down? And look at this, Andrew. It says something about GPS.
Okay.
Oh, so it's GPS tracking data and a survey of 1,000 Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what that, like, if you go to get the data, it just takes you to their website to buy it, so I couldn't get to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how GPS tracking data would be able to tell you which.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's like Google Maps or something where they're, you're checking it, you're going to locations or something like that.
You could do some geofencing. I mean, that would work, except for, I mean, goes back to the Chipotle comment. I mean, there's a lot of Chipotles like in food courts and stuff. So in the instance where there's a food court, if there were 2 taco places there, you're not going to be able to differentiate which one that individual went to. So it really has to be standalone locations, which may be affecting some of the quality of this data. And then also, I mean, there's different clientele that exists there. So are they also tracking like any of the food delivery services? So like Grubhub, when they went to go pick up Taco Bell, or I want to say Taco Bell, didn't they also have a huge launch for free delivery, or it was like 99-cent delivery right at the start of COVID?
Or free.
Yeah. I thought I remember that. So, I mean, that would have a huge impact on these numbers.
Yeah.
And Aaron, what is it? 2 lines here? What is the other line?
One's 2019, one's 2020. I just thought it was interesting that this one is.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you. Is it May?
Yeah. So
May.
Obviously that can't be right, but I don't know why they would include it if it was
May 2020.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like when it really spiked and a lot of people started working from home and all that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
March, April, May 2020, right?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, March 2020.
Or Cinco de Mayo. Huh?
That could be.
Maybe Cinco de Mayo, the first year of home, everybody was ready for some time.
Everybody was not doing anything, so they were at home and they were like, "Yeah, Cinco de Mayo, why not? I need to do something today." That's true, but it went up. You see, every single month it's almost higher.
Yeah.
On the
that's interesting. I wonder if really normally do people go to like Chuy's or an actual Hispanic or Mexican restaurant, and because they couldn't go, they did next best thing and got like quick serve Mexican food.
That's exactly, or they just did pickups, right?
Yeah,
right. That's what I did, right? Last year I did a lot of. I went and picked it up myself. So
I know. For me, I like Moe's because it's like a middle. It's not a Taco Bell. It's not a Chuy's. It's like a good middle.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like they captured that. It was mainly just the fast casual or fast food options.
Yeah. Well, Michael, anything on this chart that you like or that you wanted to say? Anything that grabbed your attention on this chart, Michael? On this one specifically?
I think the only thing I'd want to see maybe is 2018, kind of as a comparison. So understanding, what's going on during COVID, but, as we start, I don't want to say, getting back to normal or, having a sense of that in 2020, where are we compared to what normal like? Are we way off? But I don't know that data is necessarily available. You got to work with what you got, but I would have liked to see where 2018 is.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask anyone from the chat that want to say anything else. We're almost done. Oh, look at this. I didn't know this. They said you can find Taco Jones on almost any U.S. military base. Look at that. I didn't know that.
So now if you go back up to the map, do we see where was the Taco John's at?
These red ones.
Are they heavy with military bases? That'd be kind of interesting.
That's what I was thinking. Or there are military bases and not much else, right? Like Montana or something, right? There's a few military bases and not much else out there, so that's where they are.
That's kind of interesting because there's another one of my favorite restaurants, Godfather's Pizza, and pretty much they've kind of expanded into gas stations, but the actual restaurants are all on military bases. Yeah.
You know, that's a good point because Godfather's Pizza was like my high school pizza. They delivered it in there, and like you could get Godfather's Pizza. And I had never seen an actual location. I just knew that we got these Godfather's pizzas at school.
So you want to hear something crazy? I was actually in Ohio, and I freaked out because they had one that was standalone and it was brand new. And I was like almost in tears because I'm like, I didn't even know these existed anymore. I thought they were all gone.
That's funny.
It wasn't as good as I remember, but there were still lots of memories there. So.
Perfect. No, thank you very much. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else in the chat that wants to share, but no, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone. I mean, we did it. The first tackle episode ever. And Aaron, I have to say, Aaron was the one that suggested this topic, so he's right.
Well, it's obviously not going to be the last one. We're going to have to do this at least 2 or 3 times a year.
Exactly. Everybody loved this topic. Everybody that was in the chat, thank you so much. Everybody that's going to watch this later.
All right.
I wanted to ask Brad, because I haven't asked everyone, but I wanted to ask Brad. Brad, what are you, if you were going to do this again, what do you think is the advantage of doing something like this and talking about charts and things like that? What do you think? What was your you want to share?
With doing this type of presentation? Yeah, I mean, all the learnings that you get from visualizations and what works and what doesn't, right? You only know what you know, and you don't what you don't. So I take it I love these because it gives me other perspectives on visualizations, so that when I'm building visualizations, you can take these things into account of things that I would never think about. Like, even with what I was sharing, I mean, I was looking at this before this, and when I picked it out, and you guys were bringing up things that I had never even noticed, and I wouldn't think to look at that, when building a visualization. So it just helps me look at them better, so that when I'm building them for my work, that I make them that much more effective. So it's great.
Perfect. No, that's the idea.
Brad, that's happened to me a couple of times where it's like I found this thing. Oh, it's gonna be great, and then when people start like talking about it, it's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, I guess it's not as great as I thought it was. Oh, I didn't even think of that. So,
I think one of your guys a couple weeks ago, I forget what it was, but someone brought up something about a chart that was shared. I'm like, oh no, I think I have something like that on mine. Let me go change that real quick. That's a really good point.
That's true. I think it's all about collaboration.
Yeah, definitely.
It's about I think the learning here is you can learn about how to do some certain things on any data visualization, right? It doesn't matter, even in Excel. But here the idea is, how can you collaborate better with other individuals? How can you make those interactions? Like, I can go on and do my visualization, like a visualization on a dashboard, and I can make it 10 times looking at it, right? Okay, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix that. As soon as you're talking with other people, I think you can go faster and more effectively, right? So that's the idea.
Yeah.
But no, thank you, everyone. I mean, definitely going to do this again. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. I don't know what I'm going to do after this, because I'm feeling like I'm going to go fall asleep right now. There's so many tacos.
It's almost margarita time. Oh,
yeah. Taco Man. Thank you, Taco Man, and Christopher and Michael for showing up and help us with this today. And until the next time, thank you so much. Until next week. And thank you, Brad. Thank you again. And I really like the presentation. Thank you,
everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.